bleh right now. I had gotten all dressed up and got my makeup done and everything else to record this video, and then you know, the kids came home. I wasn't able to get it recorded. I had to run out to get Lamar and Jordan off the bus because they're on 2 different buses. Yes, life is something. And now I'm recording this while everybody is asleep. The only people that's up right now are me and Bella. So, and she just woke up. So I was trying to record it while she was asleep. But this is going to be her labor and delivery story. So I'm basically just gonna go through like what happened leading up to her birth, and then during the birth, and then after. So basically, like, she came at 39 weeks. I had just turned 39 weeks. So she came at 39 weeks, and she was, okay, so she came at 39 weeks, and I had just hit 39 weeks when I went in, and she came at 6, I think it was 6:15 or 6:19. I have to go back and look. I put it in one of the other videos. So she was born at 6 o'clock ish in the afternoon. I'm just gonna cut that part out. So she was born in the afternoon. She was pushed out. It took me 45 minutes to push and get her out, okay? But like I said, I'll get into all of that later on in the video. So basically what happened was, like, the couple of weeks leading up to her being born, we were going to the hospital. I had actually went on maternity leave already, because when I had went the week before I went on maternity leave, they were like, oh yeah, you're 2 centimeters dilated, and I had started losing my mucus plug. I had already started losing my mucus plug like way before I hit 36 weeks, I think it was. So when I hit 36 weeks, my OB was like, oh yeah, you can go ahead and try and start doing things to get the baby to come. So of course I was trying to get her out, because the quicker she came out, the better it was. I mean, not the better it was, but you know, the quicker I got the pregnancy over with. I was over the pregnancy, honestly. I was big. I felt big. I felt hot. I felt sweaty. It's summertime, and I had heartburn every night. So I was ready to get it over with. So started doing everything to try and get her out. You know, all the usual things that they suggest, like intercourse and the evening primrose oil. I was walking a lot, doing a lot. I was cleaning up in here, like, constantly, like doing all kinds of squats and everything. I was on it. I was trying to get her out, and I would do like all of that stuff in the day, and then in the nighttime I would start having like contractions, like back to back, and like it was getting real, like really, really real. So as the weeks went by, because remember I was at 36 weeks when I started, so the next week I went back and she's like, oh, you're 3, almost 4, but you're not quite there yet. So at that appointment, the 37-week appointment, My OB, she stripped my membrane, so she went in and basically removed, like, separated the membranes from the sac. And then that night, I had more contractions, a little bit of bleeding, and then over the next couple of days, I had lost my mucus plug. Okay, and it was like big chunks of it. Okay, so still no baby, no consistent contractions. Like, I was having contractions and they would get pretty like bad, but they weren't like, oh my gosh, I'm in labor bad. Like, they were just like, I can't really sleep bad. But yeah, so then the next week we went back when I was 38 weeks, and again she stripped my membranes. And that second time, like, I felt nothing for a couple of days, and then like again I lost my mucus plug. So my mucus plug grew back and then I lost it again. Okay, so the second time that I had lost the mucus plug, I had started having consistent contractions, like back to back to back to back to back. And the night before I went into labor with her, which was on the 20th, I was having contractions back to back to back. So that morning, the 21st, I called my OB, and I said, I've been having some pretty consistent contractions. They've been about 5 minutes apart, and they're not hurting, but they're a little uncomfortable, and I've been having a hard time to sleeping. So she said, come in so I can check you. So when she checked me, I was 4 centimeters, but still she was like, we gotta see if you get some contractions going. Because as soon as I got there, I kid you not, as soon as I got to the hospital, we got there, we took Jordan and Jaden to my mom's house, and Lamar was with his aunt. So we took Jordan and Jaden to my mom's house, and we went to the hospital after we took them to my mom's house. And as soon as we got there, I kid you not, my contractions stopped. Like, as soon as we were admitted. So they were like, we're gonna see if you can get some contractions going, and we'll see what we'll do from there. But we might just break your water and see how it goes after that. So the OB called the doctor, the practicing doctor that's at their little office, and she's like, yeah, go ahead and just break my water. So I'm like, yes, gonna have some stuff going. She wanted to wait a little bit just to see if the contractions were gonna continue, or were they just like done. They were just done. So she ended up breaking my water, and it was a really good thing that she did, because she actually had used the bathroom in the sack. So when she broke the water, it was green. So I'm like, I'm glad that she broke it when she did, because it could have been really bad it could have been bad for her, for Bella. So she broke the water, and like when she broke the water, the contractions, they were happening, but they weren't like really doing anything at all, and they were not consistent at all either. So at that point, she was like, okay, let's start you on some Pitocin and see what we get going. So started Pitocin, and I'm doing good. The whole time I'm doing good. Like, she keeps coming in, she amps it up. like every hour or so she was like upping it. But it wasn't that bad. And that was like, the water was broke at 10 o'clock in the morning. And like I said, I was in labor that whole day, so about 8 hours altogether. So when I hit, now I'm doing this naturally. The whole time they asked me, did I want an epidural? I told them no. Got up to 8 centimeters dilated, and I couldn't take it anymore. Like I had before, when I was like 6 centimeters dilated, I was okay. I did my makeup. I was talking to everybody. I had took a nap, everything. And then when I got to the 8 centimeters, I could not take it anymore. I was in there about to die. Literally, the pain was so unbearable. Like, I haven't really felt contractions with any of my babies. So when I first felt the contractions, I was like, oh, this is nothing. And then when it got to the 8 centimeters, I said, I cannot take it anymore. I need an epidural. So I'm screaming for an epidural. My husband, he runs out and he's like, let me get the nurse. So they call the nurse in. She comes and she's like, I'm so sorry. She was so sweet. She was so sweet. And I was in so much pain. And I kept apologizing because I was like, I feel so bad, but I can't take this pain. And she's like, okay, so we'll see what we can do. So they get an IV going, and I have to wait 45 minutes for the IV to drip through before I can even get the epidural. Okay? So actually I was at 7 centimeters, almost 8. And when I actually got the epidural, I was 8 centimeters. So yeah. So 45 minutes go by. They go ahead and do the epidural, and then after they do the epidural, I felt so much better. And they checked me and they're like, okay, you're at 8 centimeters, so it should be, pushing soon. So they tell me to basically get some rest, take a nap or whatever. And they get this medicine ball, and they like put it between my legs so that it's easier for me to dilate. And I couldn't really lift my legs at that point because they had the epidural up, so I couldn't basically feel anything at that point. But then they like turned it down when I started pushing. That was a godsend, because like I said, I couldn't have made it through. I couldn't have made it through without my husband, because he kept me calm and he was coaching me through the whole thing. It was absolutely amazing. I thank him so much, because like I said, I could not have made it through this without him. He was my biggest support system. Biggest. And absolutely the best, because like I said, anybody else, I wouldn't have been able to work through it with them like I was able to work through it with him. But yeah, so about an hour goes by, and after the hour, it was like I was 10 centimeters, but I wasn't completely effaced yet. So they were like trying to open me up so I could be more, like I could be 100% effaced, so that I could go ahead and start pushing. So after I finally was 100% effaced and 10 centimeters dilated, Sorry, I was breastfeeding her under this because that's what she wanted. After being completely effaced and everything, we ended up starting to push. And so they kept asking me what I wanted to do for pushing. And I will tell you the other things that made it super easy for me to push. I know it sounds weird, but I told myself, because my other VBAC, my first one, it took me 3 hours to push my baby out. That was Jaden, 3 hours. And I said, I definitely don't want to go through that again. I do not want to be pushing for 3 hours straight again. That would be absolutely horrible. It would be irritating and not fun at all. So I set a goal and I said, in under an hour, I will push this baby out. It would be wonderful if I could do like 2 or 3 pushes and the baby's out. But I knew that was not going to happen that way. So I set a realistic goal for myself. I said 1 hour, I'm gonna push this baby out. So, like I said, that's where the 45-minute mark came from. The second thing that helped was, like I said, I had a wonderful, wonderful support system. So my husband was an amazing support system. He was making sure that I was okay. He was giving me water. He was giving me ice. He was helping me push, telling me how to push. Just an amazing, amazing support system. And he held my hands, my legs, so it was great. And he, like I said, he just coached me through everything. My husband is such an amazing person because he has been there with me through every step of the way for everything, helping me and guiding me through. And even after, right now, after I've had Bella and we've been home, you know, he took off work to help me adjust and has just been a phenomenal, phenomenal man. And I couldn't ask for a better partner. The third thing that helped me push and get my baby out quickly was my OB had, and I know it's gonna sound crazy, again, it's gonna sound crazy, but it was olive oil. She took olive oil, she poured it down there, she was massaging and pulling and opening and helping me open, so that as I was opening and as the baby's head was coming through the canal, she was stretching me out and making it easier for her to come out and helping me not to rip. The olive oil was really, really good in helping to stretch the area down there. And the last thing that helped me, and it's something that I would definitely suggest to any other woman that is going to be having a baby or is looking for some ways to push and make labor a little bit easier, is a mirror. So my OB got a mirror and she put it down at the bottom of me where I could see the baby and I could see my vagina. And whenever I would do a good push, I could see, because I could see the baby coming out. So I knew what was good pushes and what wasn't. So it helped me do more of those good pushes, those good strong pushes, because I knew, okay, well, I pushed this way and the baby moved out more. Now, it would have been quicker for me to push her out if she was not the wrong way. So as I'm pushing and her head is coming out, I see my OB reach down and she grabs her head, and I see her turning her. And I'm like, why is she doing that? Well, my baby came out face up. When your baby comes out, it should be face down. And then it turns as it's coming all the way out. Well, she was face up. And that is why I had such a hard time pushing her out. And this is actually my second baby that was that way, because Jaden was the same way. She was face up, and it took me forever to push her out. She also had the umbilical cord wrapped around her, but Bella did not. It was just she was face up. So I would have gotten her out quicker if that wasn't the case, but hey, she came out, she was healthy, she cried right away, and they checked, and thank goodness that she was okay, because like I mentioned before, she did poop in the water. So when she did that, you know, they risked having infections and things like that. So they didn't have to use the meconium aerator on her because she was okay. And like I said, she was my biggest baby. She was actually 7 pounds 3 ounces. It was like every emotion that you could think of hit me at that moment. Like, I was excited, I was happy. It was like those tears of joy, and I couldn't contain it. And then when I saw her, that was like the kicker. At that point, I couldn't even keep the tears from rolling down my eyes, because it was like I had waited so long to see her and meet her. And like the ultrasound pictures, they weren't like the best. Like with Jordan, I had a 3D ultrasound, so I saw what she looked like. And Jaden, I think I had a better ultrasound, so I kind of knew what she looked like too. But it was her that I only had 2 ultrasounds and literally couldn't tell what she looked like at all. So I was excited and ready to just meet her, and it had just been so long, and I hadn't seen her face, and I just knew, you know, the thought of loving someone that you don't even know what they look like was just amazing. Loving somebody that you don't even know. But as soon as I saw her, it was like, that's my baby. You know, that's my child, and she was so beautiful. So I was just overwhelmed, and I just couldn't stop crying. And in the meantime, also at the same time, I couldn't stop bleeding. So I'm anemic, and I don't know what exactly happened, but I mean, last time it happened where I wouldn't stop bleeding, and that was because I had an episiotomy, but this time I didn't. So I couldn't understand why I was still bleeding like crazy. And they came in, and they had to put a pill in my butt. Not the best thing ever, but it was like the easiest way to get the medicine through my body to stop the bleeding. It may have been, like I said, it may have been because I'm anemic, but I'm not really sure. All I know is that was uncomfortable, and then they did that, and maybe like 30 minutes later they checked and I had stopped bleeding as bad as I was bleeding. So that was a plus, and I'm glad that I let them do that because I didn't want to meet her and then, you know, die because I bled to death. But yeah. So, you know, after that, like I said, my husband was like the most amazing support system ever. He let me get as much sleep as I needed, and as much sleep as I wanted, and then that continued when we got home, when we brought our little bundle of joy, our Bella Boo, home. So, yeah, that was the labor and delivery story. And that's how we got our beautiful baby girl here, she is now 2 months old. She is officially 8 weeks. So she is 2 months. And beautiful. And yes, she did come out with this head full of hair, and she still has a head full of hair. And she'll probably continue to have a head full of hair. But yes, this is our beautiful baby girl, Bella Noah Rivera. And I may do another video where I talk about how we came up with her name, and also, you know, names that we thought about but we ended up not using. So I guess that'll be a fun video to watch. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that my story actually can help some other mommies out there, because that would be wonderful. And again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and please like, comment, and subscribe. And a share would not hurt either. And then you can also hit the bell to get notifications on when we post new videos. But we will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. I know this one was kind of long. It was actually really long. But again, it's a great story. So we will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.